It's Friday. I'm pretty excited to be here. Hope you are too. Just hitting some buttons, and I'll be right with you. My name is Sean Shapiro. I am a former police officer, a police officer no longer, but I know stuff and things, and I'm here to share it with you. It's an exciting day to be alive. It's a Friday, and my wife is making brisket, so I'm very excited. There are many wonderful things in this world, and I think brisket is it's certainly one of the best. No, I am not a vegetarian. Okay, I want to pull up a profile here. Is this where I do it? Yes, that's what I'm looking for. It had to wait till long. Come on. Stand by. Apparently, I need to do it here. I need to get into this account. All right. Things I should have done before that didn't do before. So whatever. Hang on. There we go. There we go. We're in. What? No, we're in. It said like maximum attempts reached, and then it put me in there anyway. Okay. Toronto Road Cans says, love me some brisket. There's nothing quite like it. I mean, if you know, you know. It is my favorite day of the week. It is the end of the week, and that is not a bad thing. I do have to put 45 minutes on the clock to remind me to get a move on because I got to go pick up my dad and take him to an appointment right after this. So I wanted to try and squeeze in the live stream. We'll do 45 minutes of chat. We'll do some dad jokes at the end, and then we will move on to the rest of the day. I hope you have good stuff planned. So just to reintroduce myself, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer. I talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff all the time. And I'm here to answer your traffic and police questions. So if you've got some, let's talk. Let's get your questions going. Saba, good morning to you. This is about that time where I would talk about other stuff and things related to Vision Zero Enforcement Unit and things when I was a police officer. And there is a Vision Zero Enforcement Unit in the city of Toronto. They are a dedicated group of officers who focus on the most important things, the things that lead to serious injury and death. They are looking for people who choose to speed, drive aggressively, drive distracted, drive impaired. I bring this up because I have been amazed at the comments I get when I talk about speeding. It's no big deal. You shouldn't give people tickets for speeding, or at least not. You should give them a whole bunch, like maybe 10, 15, 20 kilometers over before you give them a ticket. It's not right to give them tickets for less than that. It's a cash grab. And I love these conversations. But what's shocking is how acceptable it is for people to speed. Like there's no social guilt about speeding, it seems. It's still serious. And they say, well, it doesn't cause collisions. Yeah, it does. It increases considerably your chances of being involved in one. So you shouldn't do it. And then we get into the discussion of, well, how much can I speed? How much can I go over the posted limit before it's a big deal? Why, police officers don't pull over everybody. Should they pull over everybody? Okay, 1 kilometer over the posted speed limit, although it's illegal, is unreasonable, in my opinion, to pull someone over. But what about 2, 3, 4, 5? 5? Is 5 okay? Most people say no. People want to do 10 to 20 over and think that should be okay. It's not. But if you go out on the highway, especially when I do any of the 400 series highways, 120 is sort of the baseline for the average driver, especially in the areas with the 110. But forget about the 110 zones. 120 seems to be where they think 20% over the limit. That wouldn't be okay in the 30 zone in front of your house at 2 in the morning when you're trying to sleep. Or when your kids are playing outside. That would be a concern for most people in a residential area. Why is 20 over okay on the highway? So what about 30 over, 40 over? At what point does it become ridiculous? At what point are people just doing whatever the heck they want with no worry in the world that they could hurt somebody? So we already know that every 5 kilometers over the posted speed limit that you go increases your odds of becoming involved in a collision. I got to pull up the exact stats because my friends at the Traffic Injury Research Foundation, TIRF, actually talk about that all the time. And I can't remember if it's like 10% or 5% increase. We'll look at that later. In any case, it's serious. Now, I am one person who really believes in automated enforcement, not because I want to put cops out of work, because if you do automated enforcement everywhere, what do the cops have to do? They can focus on more important stuff than the people doing the minor stuff. So what if we had cameras on every street, every stop sign, every red light? Would you then actually pay attention to the rules? People argue that that's not a thing, because so many people break the cameras and steal and damage the cameras, the speeding won't stop. Maybe the red lights, well, people go through red lights all the time despite cameras being there, even with signs saying they're going to be there. So how do we stop it? I don't know. Maybe way more serious penalties, or maybe taking away the ability to fight it in court. Because I have a big issue with the people who take everything to court. So I posted a video. It was a clip from actually Monday's live stream, and it was talking about why do cops say 10 over is not a big deal? Why should we just pay it and move on? Because a 10 kilometer and over charge doesn't have demerit points. In fact, up to 15 kilometers, there's no demerit points. Demerit points are added at 16 kilometers over. So if there's no demerit points, it means it won't affect your driver's license in terms of tracking with the Ministry of Transportation, but it certainly will or can impact your driver's license when it comes to insurance ratings. Because insurance companies look at any ticket, but here's the deal. People say, it's a conviction. They worry about speeding tickets, but they don't worry about a ticket for leaving their license at home, even though the insurance company considers that a minor offense, and multiple minor offenses could accumulate. And statistically, you're someone who doesn't follow the rules. You are making yourself a target for further, scrutiny. They might consider you a red flag or a risk. Well, if you don't bring your license whenever you leave, what else are you not doing? See, how you do one thing is generally how you do everything, at least in the eyes of people who are paying attention. Yeah. So I'm very interested to know what your thoughts are on all these topics. I see that we've got Randy McNaught, who says, "Good Friday to you, Sean. All the best from London, Ontario." I didn't know you were in London, Randy. That's awesome. I'm thinking of going to London soon. There's a movie that's playing in London, also playing in Whitby, which is closer. But I was thinking of going to London or Whitby to go see it. It's called Homestead. It's not playing in Toronto, but I want to see the movie. Manraj, what's going on? Manraj says, in U.S., some countries even pull you over if you are counties. My apologies. In the U.S., some counties even pull you over if you're 2 to 3 miles above the posted speed limit. Well, 1.6 miles to a kilometer. No, 1.6 kilometers to a mile. So that's actually quite a 3 kilometers is over. It's almost 10 kilometers now. Is it? What is it? Oh my goodness! Is my math that pathetic? I was going to say 6, then I'm going to let's do the actual conversion. Let's see here. 3 is that what you said? Yeah, 3. 4.8. It's 5 kilometers over. I don't know why I couldn't do that in my head. Anyway, some days are math days, some days are not. My math wasn't mathing. Anyway, 5 kilometers over. That's pretty tight. I wouldn't do 5 kilometers over personally. If it was a 30 zone, maybe I'd warn at 5 and charge at 10. In a 60 zone, 10 kilometers an hour, I didn't generally charge people for 10 over in a 60. Not that it's okay. It's just that there's so many people doing 16 to 20 over that I had more than my hands full. So at 15 over, I would charge you. That's 25% over the posted limit. To me, that was a charge worth laying. If you were more than that, so anything under 20, I usually I used to, before I gave up on reducing. If it was under 20, I went to 15 to get no points. I gave you that little buffer. As soon as you were over 20, you got the exact amount, and that's sort of where I went. Greetings and salutations to my friend from my friend Akela, who is now populating my screen with dad jokes for later. Much appreciated, my friend. Good to see you. Let's have a look at what's going on the Instagram. Irish Lucky Charm says, with all the traffic speed cameras that are being damaged, would that raise the cost of fines to cover the repairs? Interesting way to deal with it. Sorry that I can't put your stuff. TikTok and Instagram are currently not working with the integration with Restream, so I can only put questions from Twitter, LinkedIn, or X, LinkedIn, and YouTube on screen right now. Hopefully that will be resolved soon. So certainly that increases the costs of enforcement, but York region and surrounding areas are putting them. I was in Brampton recently. They have cameras way up on poles. Like you have got to be a pole dancer or some kind of professional to get to the something that's like 40 feet, 50 feet in the air, whatever a light pole is, to do anything. And they're not taking down concrete poles. So maybe the technology that we're utilizing in Toronto needs to change to whatever everybody else is. And the cameras there are tiny little. They look like 2400 baud modems or what are they 14.4 or 28.8 modems from yesteryear, and with little antennas on them. They're totally different technology than what's being utilized in Toronto with these big boxes with that are ground level, and even the ones on poles in Toronto. Totally different technology. I wonder which will be the winners overall. I think the ones in New York region will be. Oh, coffee. Yes, yes. What's going on? So I appreciate that comment, Irish Lucky Charm. Oh, by the way, I called in and I wrote into more in the morning, and I was suggesting that, and I've suggested in posts before, that we need to have like a laser defense system for our automated speed enforcement cameras. Pew pew, things to take care of those people who want to vandalize them, and those people are garbage, hot garbage if you're vandalizing that stuff. Neha, good morning. Neha is finished an overnight shift, like 10 or 12 hours. I forgot what you said, and they are still awake to watch the live stream because I posted an advertising the live stream. They said, I will be there. So I'm so glad that you are. Okay. And if you're watching on TikTok, do me a favor, please hit that screen and show likes because it really helps the algorithm tell other people about the live stream. Actually, whatever platform you're watching, please do that. Please share. Also, if you've got questions that you want to ask, obviously ask in the live, but you can ask in comments. I try and answer every question on all the social media posts I put, regardless of the platform I'm on. I also have a website, trafficcop.ca. Is my link tree, which has links to all the other platforms, even the old channel on Toronto Police. But it also has all sorts of links to important documents about renewing your license, about how to navigate the court system if you're actually charged and you don't understand how to deal with court. There's instructions or links to a document there for instructions. I've got lots of stuff linked, and every time I find good stuff, I put it there. So check it out. You can, of course, follow me on all the platforms. I'm VoiceOver Cop everywhere. And you can also, I'll be adding some new sites very much now because I've launched, or I'm part of a launch of a new not-for-profit called Better Traffic, bettertraffic.ca. It's actually the Canadian Organization for Better Traffic Safety and Education, but Better Traffic is what it's short down to. And lots of good stuff that we plan on doing for the community and to help police help the community. So we want to partner with police organizations across Canada and the United States to help deliver excellent communications and education in the realm of traffic safety. Okay. Mario Photo says, good morning. There has been a massive surge in obstructed plates using dark tinted covers. How can we get enforcement on this? Well, I'm glad you bring this up because I see all these there's a guy on TikTok and platforms that's showing an electronically controlled LCD screen that goes opaque when you hit power to it. I've seen ones that are magnetic, electromagnetic leaves, where there's a magnet behind and there's a little cheapy leaf that sticks on top, and when they hit the button, it turns the electromagnet off and the leaf falls off. So when they do stupid stuff, they're speeding, going through cameras, avoiding tolls, and they cover their plate. And as soon as the lights go on for police officers behind them, they hit the button and they drop the leaf. Well, people have been caught. Police officers have figured this out, and they're going for it. They're charging them, and I don't know if they're just charging them for obscured plate or driving without a plate, because both would be appropriate. I hope they nail them because if you've got this stuff on your vehicle, you are with the intention. You have intent to. It's beyond just dirt on your car that there should be a much more serious charge if there isn't already one available, because you're a bad man or girl or person. Just saying. But I do. If I ever saw anything, even dirty plates, I would pull them over. If it was something as simple as you didn't clear the fresh snow off your plate, fresh snow, that wouldn't be a ticket. That'd be, hey, I can't see your plate. You got to sweep it whenever you get in the car. A little reminder to sweep your plate. If it's something where it's hard packed snow, you're obscuring the plate intentionally. It's covered because it's old snow. Anyway, there's no snow. I haven't seen real snow in southern Ontario yet. Barrie got hammered a bunch of times, but not south in the North Yorkie areas. I've not seen real snow. Let's see here. Thin White Line Interceptor. Ryan waves hello. Hello to you, Ryan. Oh, he's got a question too. FM Promotions, good morning to you. I'm going to come back to you, Ryan, because I know who you are. I'm just going to go because I've been ignoring the TikTok chat. Give me a second here. I'm going to rearrange my windows so I can actually read everything. Here we go. Connor says, when I drive on the highway with my G2, do I go 100 or with the flow of traffic? This is another really great question because I've heard of people being pulled over for doing 100 in a 100 zone to be told you should be going faster. Now, I've heard of it. I've heard the rumor. I've heard it from people who have allegedly had it happen to them. I've never heard a police officer actually tell me that that's what they tell people, because I think it's ludicrous. A police officer telling people to break the law is ludicrous. And if you're a police officer who does that, shame on you. What should be happening is promoting the lawful transportation, the following of the rules that we're out there enforcing. 100 is the speed limit, or 110 in some areas, and you should be doing that. So you as a G2 driver, or any driver, should be doing the bloody speed limit. Stay to the right. The bozos to the left, the people who are breaking the law, that's on them. They can do whatever the hell they want until we catch them and charge them, and then hopefully their insurance rates go up the wazoo, because that's what is supposed to happen to the people who break the law. Now, granted, we don't have enough police officers to be everywhere all the time, which is why I'm such a big advocate for automated enforcement. I think they should be on the highways like they are in Europe. But if you are breaking the law, and that's what you're doing if you're going the flow of traffic above the posted speed limit. See, there's no law that says go the flow of traffic. It's a concept for merging in with traffic, that you should get up to the speed of traffic, which should not be exceeding the traffic, the posted limit. You don't come in at 40 or 60 on the highway and toodaloo to the appropriate speed. You should match the speed to merge in. Now, you may have to exceed the posted speed limit because of all the bozos on the highway that are breaking the law. And as soon as you get into that lane, you should get back down to the posted speed limit. And the bozo behind you who wants the speed should be in the left lanes passing you, not because it's legal there. There is no speeding lane. There is no fast lane. There's no express, no consequence lane. It's just that's where you pass people. And if you're going to speed, at least stay to the left so police know exactly where you are and can hammer you with the appropriate tickets. Yeah. Okay. But I hope that helps, Connor, especially with a license like yourself, a G2, where the consequences of tickets is higher with a G2. So if you get demerit points on a G2, if you get a ticket with 4 demerit points, you get a 30-day suspension the first time. If you get a ticket with 4 demerit points the second time, you get a 90-day suspension. If you get a third ticket with 4 demerit points, you get kicked out of the driver's licensing program. You start again with 0. That means you lose your G2, you go back to G1, and no time is attributed to your G1, which means you have to wait 12 months or 8 months if you have a course. Suddenly, there's risk involved, more so than just raising your insurance rates, right? It could take you right off the road. Okay. What do we got here? Neha says, oh, I see. 1 second. Scrolling back, I see a flower popped up. I'm not used to this gift stuff. And I can't see the animations. Maybe I should watch on another channel. Hang on a second. I'm gonna see here. I appreciate gifts. I don't expect them. I don't need them. But it's very kind of you. I do this on my own time. Nobody's paying me. I am no longer a member of the Toronto Police Service. I'm just doing it because I like to do it. Okay, and because I care. Yeah, and it's fun. Okay, let me go in here. Let me go into. How come I don't see it? Oh, I love this Ira's got. There we go. Live is here. Press the button. There, we're in the live. Should probably turn it down. Now, hey, 73 people in the live stream. Welcome, everybody. Hey, if you're new to the channel, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer who talks about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. And you know what? I'm here to answer your traffic and police questions. If you got stuff you want to know, let's talk. Now, I'm only here till like 10 o'clock on the nose. I got to fly right after. But I'll be back again on Monday to do a live stream. Haven't figured out. We're still experimenting. I'm still experimenting as to whether I want to do 9, 10, split it up. We're trying to figure out the optimal. When does everyone want me to be on the live stream? Because I want, if I'm here for you, I should probably be here when you're here, right? I've done some evening stuff, and I'll do more of that. Maybe we'll just mix it up. Like we'll do like 2 mornings and 1 evening a week. So I'm going to try and do at least 3 a week. That's the goal. That is the goal. Johan Nora says, "What's your 1020?" My 20 is I'm just north of the city. I'm in Toronto area, GTA. I am in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Where are you, Johan? I want to know. Okay, let me go back up. We historically, tons of international people watch when I go live stream from Ireland. I have had police officers and civilians from around the world reach out to say that they watch and appreciate what I'm doing, which is interesting because I would have never thought people internationally would be into what I'm talking about because we're Ontario based and very much North America, laws and culture. It's a very different driving culture in Europe. But it's oddly enough, people appreciate it. So I appreciate you. And if you're from somewhere far away, please voice out and tell me where you are, because I'd like to know. I'm curious. Curious, I say. Okay. We got Niha. Why does this keep saying right on top of Niha? It says it has a tag saying there's new messages, and then I can't read the message. Okay. T.Cop, what's up? Shorty says, hi, Officer Shapiro. Hello back. Okay, now I can read it. Niha says, I have seen some sort of cameras pointing to the road in Mississauga, which is not super high. Those could be priority lights. They look for the strobe lights on the fire engines to change the lighting pattern or the signal pattern so that they can go through intersections on a green. No one wants to slow down a fire truck if we can avoid it. They got places to go. There's places burning, people they have to save. So that could be what that is. They're usually very tiny. But it may not be. Maybe something else. Okay. Intimidation from speeders is challenging to handle on my bumper like I'm the problem. Saba, I totally get it. They're bullies. Like we don't accept. We have like Day of Pink to top for cyberbullying and bullying. We talk about bullying is not okay. And then people go on the road and bully the crap out of everybody else. It's pretty pathetic. And a contradiction if you're someone who says bullying is wrong and then you go out there and ride on someone's ass saying, go faster, I got places to go. It's entitlement. It's really pathetic. If you want to get somewhere on time, leave early. Don't drive like a jackass when you get on the road. We got Sales CNC just liked our live stream. Hey, if you are on X, know that you can ask questions too. Kelly Work sent a message on X, and where'd it go? Where's my mouse? Here. This is Kelly's message, and you can see that it says she's on X. And Richard says, "Good morning, Richard." And Richard's way up. Did you do your run already for your school bus run this morning? We want to know. Or is it nap time? Let's see here. Minraj says, in India, if someone traveling on toll route, they calculate the speed from entry to exit, and someone doing speeding gets tickets in the mail. That's the easiest way to do things. And that means the technology is already there. People consider the 407 Ontario's Autobahn because people just do whatever the heck they want. They figure they're paying for it, which is funny because I've been asked to speak on a topic about bringing toll roads or a toll fee to driving in the city of Toronto to try and reduce congestion. I'll actually be on the radio on Sunday morning on AM 640 discussing that with the host. And I'm actually curious what you think. Do you think you should pay an extra fee to drive in the city of Toronto to reduce congestion? You know, you pay what, $20 to $40 for parking? Should you pay an extra $10 or $20 just to enter the city with a vehicle? I want to leave everyone in suspense, waiting for my thoughts on it for when I'm on the radio. But guess which way I think. And the reason I bring this up is because we talked about the entitlement of people who pay to be on the 407, thinking they can do whatever the hell they want. Yeah, what are they going to do in the city of Toronto if they're paying to be there? Interesting. But Manraj, 100%, that is a way that the 407 could currently be enforcing speeds, in my opinion. If they just, I guess they'd have to get, how would they do it? Because they have to change the laws to allow for it. But that is essentially how all speed measurement works. It just uses lasers or radar to establish the time between 2 points. Okay, Randy says, I got to bail and get my day started. Safe and law-abiding, everyone. Person turquoise waving. Oh, there was it must have been an emoji. And Richard is done the morning bus run. Awesome. I need a sip of McCourphy. Okay. Johan says, I've done that. I've left my driver's license at home, just got a ticket for speeding. And although it was cut off, I didn't see the rest of it. The deal is that if you're getting a lesser ticket, it's a minor over a speeding ticket. And, you got the ticket for speeding instead of the one for, so it's funny. Very often, if it was a minor charge, and if I was being a really nice guy, I would charge for not having your license instead of the speeding because I know the impact of the speeding. If it was, see, here's the thing. Not every ticket, let me rephrase. Not every interaction with police, even traffic police, has to result in a ticket. Sometimes where the person appears to be, and I say appears, some people are really good actors, appears to be, remorseful. I'm really sorry, officer. I wasn't thinking. I know I was speeding. as opposed to the person who says, I was only 10 over. What's your problem? Why you like your tax grab, money grab? If you give an attitude, you're getting the speeding ticket without a reduction, no question. But if you were really remorseful, and I thought if I believed that you were learning a lesson, then I could have given a ticket for not having your license with you. And that might have been the day. Maybe you got both if your attitude was wrong. But there's no, someone says, oh, you have to give a ticket. You don't have to give a ticket. And there's no quotas, despite people saying there's quotas. I've had a lot of people talking about quotas recently. Again, I thought that was a done deal, a question or a discussion that we'd put to bed. But a lot of people believe there's quotas, and I've never in my career been told you must do a certain number of tickets or you're going to get in trouble. No. If I wrote one ticket one day or I wrote 20 tickets the next day, no one cares as long as you're doing work. I might be arresting someone and not giving any tickets away, like as long as you're doing work. Anyway. Ryan, I ignored you for too long. I apologize. Ryan is the Thin White Line Interceptor, a fantastic photographer who travels around and takes photos of police and emergency services vehicles and posts them on his social media. His question says this: Good morning, Sean. I hope all is well. Do you happen to know if stop sign cameras on school buses will become law? Unfortunately, I see people blow through them all the time. It is law. They've modified the Highway Traffic Act to incorporate or include the automated enforcement of school bus cameras. That is a law. It's accessible. It's available to jurisdictions in Toronto. In terms of deployment of those cameras, it's being utilized in areas outside of the GTA or not in Toronto. And I don't know when that's coming. Like, because it's obviously money to invest. I don't know if it's the company that pays for it, if it's the city that pays for it. I don't know what the infrastructure is to deploy it. But I know that I was at Arrive Alive conference like 3 years ago, and they were already utilizing it then in other areas in the province of Ontario. Shout out to everyone who's jumping in by way of Instagram. You can ask questions. I am paying attention. There's none in the queue there, but there's a whole bunch in the wonderful and majestic TikTok queue. So let me have a look here. What's going on? Baad says, we need to follow the UAE model. Every single road has speed cameras and fines increase every time. You know what? I'd be down with that. There's no excuse for speeding. So if you're going to speed, holding you accountable, really good thing to do. And see, the thing is, people have really bad habits, and the lack of enforcement due to understaffing and priority calls taking priority from police officers, because we obviously have to go where we have to go. And when lives are on the line, immediately, not reduction of harm over time or reducing the chance of harm, immediate harm is happening. You need to put those resources to saving people now, not later. So automated enforcement cameras everywhere and zero tolerance, I'm 100% down with that. Just means you change the way you drive, right? Someone who's used to doing 20 over better get used to not doing 20 over, or they're going to lose their privileges. And then you talk about certain jurisdictions that are actually looking to take the fines and apply them or apply fines based on your income. So there was a speeder in Switzerland or somewhere along the lines, and he was like a $150,000 fine for speeding because he was an executive from a major corporation and had a hell of an income. So he paid through the nose. Jeremy on Instagram says LAPD to announce themselves when entering an area or a building. What does the Toronto Police do? What do you mean? Like, we just going to announce they're going to start announcing people for officer safety or for the public's knowledge of their presence? No, we don't walk around going, hello. No, because you don't catch anybody if you warn them that you're there. Gravity Podcast. Hey, brother, how you doing? A friend of mine just popped in on Instagram. Good to see you, my friend. We have to catch up, by the way. Not catch up. We have to catch up. Catch up is good, too, though. Too much sugar. Let's see here. Baad also continues. No, they repeated it there. My internal thought says Sweden, where the fine indexed to your income could be $100 for a person and $12,000 for the next. Yeah, what we were just talking about. Gravity Podcast. That Gravity Podcast says for a search warrant, I think. Listen, in terms of announcing, I jumped off questions. I got so excited to see him. So in terms of entering a property to conduct ourselves for officer safety or to action a warrant, yeah, you come in, you say, police open the door, Toronto police open the door, or they crash through the door. We're going to announce when we're searching a premises. different than we're trying to just wander around patrolling. Mind you, in the city of Toronto, there's a project where police officers in certain situations are wearing flashing red and blue lights on their uniform, like they're walking around and they're I read about it originally. I don't want to misquote or suggest something that isn't accurate, but I think that the community really liked the fact that no one was sneaking up on them when they were dealing drugs. They liked the fact that they were being announced so they could put the drugs away. I don't know. I don't get it, but apparently it's had phenomenal reviews. But I'm sure there's other reasons for it. I'm just making fun of it. Could you remind people about green flashing strobe lights, please? That's from Dave, who is likely a volunteer firefighter or a volunteer medic. And in fact, in the province of Ontario, if you are seeing red and blue, you know that's emergency vehicles. But what about flashing green? Well, those are volunteer paramedics or firefighters, and they are en route to an active call. They are going to save the day in their own special way. They're not entitled to go through red lights. They don't get the speed. What that green light means is that if you are behind, if you're in front of them, please move over. It's not a requirement by law, but it is a moral thing because someone is needing their assistance and you're blocking their way. So it's a courtesy thing. Please move over and let them pass. That is what it's for. And it's a fantastic program that helps save many lives in the areas where it's utilized. We don't have volunteer firefighters in Toronto. We do have volunteer medics that do serve certain communities. Let's see here. Kevin Temple says, are the traffic cams only active during school hours or do they ticket all day? Traffic cameras that are active, speed enforcement cameras, unless signed otherwise, are active 24/7, as they should be, because the speed limits are in effect 24/7. You should not be doing 60 and a 30 because it's after 7 p.m. Truth is, the community anticipates and behaves as though those speed limits are being adhered to all the time, and they should be adhered to all the time because those are community areas. Peep Peep Poo Poo, fantastic username, intellectual username. Window tint, go. I've had tremendous discussions about window tint. Obviously, if you can't see in, it's not legal. If you can't see out, it's not legal. So window tint, understand that people like to look cool. I think cars with dark tint look cool, except when they're moving, then they're terrifying. If you want to read more about window tint, I just posted an article that I wrote on LinkedIn and on X, because you can write full-size articles. You can also see the article on bettertraffic.ca into the blog section. So yeah, if you want to know about tint, that's the place to go. User 897, did you retire? I did retire from policing. I'm not retired from working. I'm working right now. I'm just not getting paid for it. But I am no longer a police officer. I did a total amount of service just shy of 25 years with the Toronto Police. I joined in 2000 as an auxiliary officer, became a court officer, then became an auxiliary sergeant, then a supervisor within court services, and then patched over to policing, where I spent the last chunk of my time. But ultimately, I was turning 50, and it was time. It was time to be home for the family, who needs me more now than ever. Let's see here. I see those nuts. You can't see the username, but it's those nuts. Says no one should be paying the camera fines, all cash grabs. Okay, smarty pants. So you just want to be able to break the law. You're upset about being held accountable? Put your big boy pants on and slow down or buck up and pay. Because if you are putting lives at risk because you just don't want to follow the rules, you shouldn't be a licensed driver. You don't deserve the privilege to drive because driving is a privilege. So, okay, we good with this? I love the people who have opinions. They want to break the law, but they don't want any consequences because that's somebody else's problem. It's not them who's the problem. A narcissist much? It's not them who's the problem. It is everybody else who's telling them to slow down. Too funny. Ali says, may I ask a question? You most certainly can ask a question. I'll come back to you because you haven't asked it yet. Let's see here. Username BG says, what happens if an officer doesn't file a careless driving ticket within 7 days? So I think it's actually 15 days to file. Technically in the Toronto area, when we were doing paper tickets, we would suggest that 7 days to allow for processing time. But now everything's digital and generally digital and instant. So mind you, if it's a 104, no, careless driving is just a regular ticket, not a 104. So careless driving would be instantly filed. If there was a problem with the system and it didn't get filed past the it 10 days or 15 days? Anyway, if it didn't get in the system, if it wasn't filed appropriately, that file would be null and void, or that initial ticket. But they have up to 6 months to reserve you. So they could come back and serve. If there was a problem and it didn't work out, they could come and to your house or send somebody else to serve on their behalf. So there are options. There are options. Okay, let's see here. John Hartley says, good morning, Sean. Or just morning, Sean. Good morning to you. Let's see here. Minraj says, OPP 407 detachment is nice, but I think understaffed as they got many things to do. That's the problem with policing in general, is we don't have enough police officers to serve the capacity of the population, not to mention the fact that there are people leaving the services, myself, and retiring, and there's not enough officers to, it's just enough officers to maintain the same number or slowly grow. But we need to hire like double the number of people we're hiring in order to truly grow the numbers. If you think about how many officers we have versus how many officers New York City has, okay, they're not 100% the same population density, but way more officers they have. Okay. Let's see here. Ali King, who says, I have a question. I got a speeding ticket with demerit points, but my lawyer went to court for me and no response yet from both and haven't come to an agreement. So if you're talking about they're having discussions in advance, what were you charged with? If it's something serious where they're having a meeting with a prosecutor in advance of a trial, that's different. But more often than not, the actual final things happen at trial. They either, very rarely is it handled before, especially if it's serious. Let's see here. Highway 17 outside Renfrew, oftentimes the traffic lights will be set to flash, flashing red one way and flashing yellow the other way. What are the rules when approaching a flashing yellow? Everyone treats it as a four-way stop, but I argue flashing yellow means proceed with caution. And you are correct, my friend. A flashing red means treat it as a stop, and flashing yellow is proceed with caution, because you should anticipate that everybody else has no idea what they're doing. It's similarly to, like, there are lights that will flash all four directions red, and you shouldn't assume that some people ignore those too. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Proceed with caution is the yellow, and stop, treat it like a stop sign for the other. Let's see here. Oh, Manraj is asking me about a January 9th incident on the 401. Is this where he was in a car that was struck? I have not read about it. I've seen highlights, but I haven't read about it, so I can't comment on it. Okay. Let us go back. I got 10 more minutes before I got to start wrapping up. All right. Diane? I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Deiann. I think it's Diane, which is the first time I've ever seen it spelled that way, if that is in fact your name. Hey there. Glad that you have carried on the channel. Always very informative. Thank you very much. The Toronto police had full intention of continuing. They didn't do it. They haven't found someone to do it. So I think that you deserve to have access to somebody who knows the stuff and things that I do. And that's why we're continuing along. We want to help you. I want to make sure that you understand the law. If you choose to break it later, that's on you, but I want to explain it so you can make an educated decision. We got this. Any speed limit for snowmobiles on lake? Thanks. I actually don't know the answer to this, Jack. The reason I don't know is I'm not a snowmobiler, nor do I've never tried snowmobiling, never gone. We have discussed it, and Sergeant Murray Campbell of the Toronto Police Service knows the answer because he's an avid snowmobiler. Shout out to Murray if you're watching. I should call. We should go for lunch. Yeah, that's the thing. It is I don't know. It's not a road. Maybe it's a trail. I have no idea. I'm going to, based on stories I've heard of people going really, really, really fast, I would assume it's not a speed limit, but I don't know. Okay. Christoph wants to know, in my opinion, is it worth fighting a red light camera ticket? Well, they have photographic evidence of you doing what was done. There's no consequence to your license. It's a cash-only fine. It's a matter of what your time is worth. And the majority of times I see convictions. I've never actually seen someone to disprove the allegation of the ticket because there are cameras catching you multiple times and the system works. The only thing I've seen is if you have financial hardship, if you are unable to pay a ticket because you don't have the means, you have 25 children and you have no job and you rely on social assistance and you were just trying to help an old lady down the street, whatever the story of what your tale of woe is, If you can't afford to pay it, they can give you the ability to either reduce the fine if you plead guilty, or give you a payment plan. You pay $25 a month until it's paid. If you don't pay it by the end of that term, you'll owe the whole amount, type thing, or you'll something also happen. I don't know what the other consequences are, but the fact is they do have the ability to give you alternative means to do things. But I have seen people pay have it reduced to like $30, which is a discount. But at the end of the day, convictions happen. Okay. Owen Sports, who has a very excellent colored logo, so it's easy to catch you. Owen Spoons says, I said sports. Owen Spoons. See, it looks like a basketball, your logo. Anyway, without dash cam or witnesses, I don't know what you're talking about. It's out of context. Oh, since rear-ending is always the person liable, and that's what it could look like. I don't know where I jumped on this conversation, but yes, dash cameras, I suggest 100% all the time. I think the U1000 or U3000 from ThinkWare is the best way to go. That's what I have. I have a U1000 of mine, a front and rear camera, 4K to the front, 2K to the rear. Of course, I was rear-ended the day before I installed it. Well, the rear-ending reminded me to install it. This is going back some. I was traveling northbound on the Don Valley Parkway, and a cab drove into me. And I bet you dollars to donuts he was on his cell phone. But he rear-ended me. All the damage was to his vehicle. Luckily, I didn't even have a scuff. It would hit my trailer hitch. His hood was destroyed. He wasn't paying attention. I wish I would have had a camera recording of that, because it would have been great for laying charges, but it also would have been great for social media. I don't want to recreate being rear-ended, though. Erica says, can people get stopped for going 50 to 60 in an 80 zone? Yes, depending. So if you're doing 50 or 60 in an 80 zone, it's not specifically illegal. And in some conditions, like it's snowy, it's slippery, it's dark, there could be a justification for doing it. State of the right. If you are a hazard where people are doing 150, why people are speeding on an 80 zone, I don't know. But anyway, if someone who's going faster in general should be on the left lane, that's how it works. I would say 50 is quite slow, and I might want to look at why you're doing that. Like 30 under is a concern. Like if you're just driving 30, are you drunk? Are you high? I'm going to investigate. That's a possible impaired driver. From my perspective as a police officer, assuming the conditions on the road are perfect. It's a bright sunny day, you're doing 50. Why? Okay, you're looking for an address. But I'm going to investigate. Would I lay charges? If you're in the left lane, just obstructing traffic, possibly unnecessary slow driving. It depends. Randy Random says, if I'm in a stolen car and I wasn't driving, but the car was, if I was in a stolen car and I wasn't driving, but I was in the car, what charge would I get? It could be argued that you're in joint possession of that vehicle, because one person could say, no, I stole it, he didn't know, and they would take the rap potentially, but you're both in possession, shared possession, just like if you had drugs in the car. If it wasn't established that one person owned it versus all, then it's shared possession amongst all people in the car. I would not hang out or be in a car with someone who stole a car, because you got to have rocks in your head to associate with criminal garbage. 1, 2, are you insured? No. So if you get seriously injured, you're not going to be covered. You're going to be in bad shape. It's just dumb from the word go. Don't associate with garbage. And thieves are garbage. Sorry. Criminals are garbage, not just thieves. Criminals in general. I'm not saying violators of the Highway Traffic Act are garbage. They're just misunderstood. Okay. Richard says, just ticket the owner, all tickets. What is this? Just ticket the owner, all tickets, driver if you can. I'm sure it made sense when you wrote it. I think you're talking about, in context of what we were talking about earlier with automated enforcement, it does just go to the registered owner. Let's see here. Evandro, my buddy from Peel Regional Police Auxiliary, says, dash cameras in cars are extremely important. Last night, I helped the OPP solve an accident by providing footage from my car's dash camera. That's it. If you have footage, if you happen to witness something, the best thing you can do is provide it. You give an independent perspective of what actually happened, and the people involved rarely actually know what happened, or they're lying because they don't want to be held responsible. Okay. What do we got here? So Jeremy Usher had sent a rose earlier. Thank you. I didn't read your name until just now. Boymom8424 says, good morning and happy Friday, Sean. Thank you. Good morning to you too. Michael says, can you have a few drinks at 21 with a G? No, you must be 22. You have to be 22 and above with a G-class license in order to have anything over 0. And many people are confused because they think it's 21 and over. No, it's over 21. It's 22 and over. Moose on roller skates followed me. Freebird followed me. Thank you for following. Hey, if you're watching and you don't know who I am, my name is Sean Shapiro. I probably should have said that more frequently because I've been doing this for, what do we got here? 45 minutes, and I probably only introduced myself a couple of times. So I'm a former police officer, no longer a police officer. I left the Toronto Police in August of last year. And I am a traffic specialist, or was when I was a police officer, and I still talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. And I'm here as a resource for you to answer your traffic and police questions. Although we don't have a lot of time left today, I will be back on Monday to do this again. So I hope you have a great weekend. Let's try and get some more questions taken care of. How do you guys feel about window tint? I feel strongly about it. I just wrote an article. You can check out my my article on my VoiceOver Cop channel on X. Or on my LinkedIn. Okay. I am Ophelia says, did you retire? Thanks for continuing the show. I did retire, and you're very welcome. What happens if an officer doesn't follow? We talked about that already. Can I put a red light under my vehicle for display? So underglow, if you're not on the road, it doesn't matter. So I think underglow should only be used on private property. That's my personal view. Is it specifically illegal? No, there's no law saying it is or isn't. However, if that light is visible from the front or the rear of the vehicle, from the front of the vehicle, it's specifically prohibited to have red light to the front. So you could find yourself with headlight law issues. Yeah, that's a thing. And green is an issue. We know it's a controlled color. Blue is a controlled color. Amber isn't. You could have amber if you want to, but why would you do any of that? It does not look as cool as you may think it does. Someone says, why do you leave? Why did you leave? Why did you leave? I left because I had done 25 years and my family needed me more at home than they did. Needed me to go to work. Yes, that's why I left. Family reasons. Okay. Josh says, holy moly, his voice. Thanks, Josh. I'm assuming that's a compliment. We've got, okay. Tamara says, oh yeah, remember a company isn't there to protect you, only make shmoney. I'm trying to find, where is this? Tamara had Josh had a statement. So Josh, apparently there's a whole conversation here. What is Josh saying? I'm now intrigued. Oh, apparently everything refreshed and I missed a whole bunch of juicy conversation. Is the cop age lower for retirement? So you have to have 25 years total service. I'm just under that. You're supposed to be 50 to go. I would have been, it's something called a factor, years of service plus your age. So technically my optimal age for retirement is 58 and my regular age would have been 60. I went early, obviously, and I took a reduction to do that. And I'm actually not getting a pension. I took my pension out. And it doesn't, his two-step and says he doesn't look 65. I am not 65. I am 50. Okay. Lots of people are really curious about me leaving. Is there any way to punish tailgating on the highways? Yeah, you charge people for following too close. It's illegal. It's dangerous. Boy, oh boy. I wish I could stay longer. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cut and paste this. Can I do this? Yeah, let's go. Pop out window. Oh, I hope I didn't screw this all up. I think I screwed it all up. No, I've got it here. I am going to cut and paste this entire chat and stuff that I did not talk about. I am going to try and make videos of. This will be my reminder. And Josh, thank you for reminding people to put the Q in front. Only issue is that I have to go. I've got 10 more minutes. I have to walk out this door in 10 minutes. Otherwise, bad things will happen. But I'm going to quickly save everything that I've lost. And maybe we'll just make them footnotes for future lives and the really good ones I'll make videos of. Standby notes. Where's my notes app? Here we go. I just want to make sure I save them appropriately. Don't want to lose them. Did it work? Oh, wow. I even have your pictures. Isn't that wild? Scrabbleboard says, why did you leave? So cool. I might cut and paste these things more often. This is neat. All right. Now everything is, here we go. Before I forget, let's throw a dad joke in here. Because dad jokes, if you've got dad jokes, I like dad jokes. And we talk about them at the end of every show. I've been doing that for years. So let's start with a dad joke. I'm going to come back to another question, but I want to read a dad joke so we don't wait for the end. Star Wars dad joke. Why do droids go on vacation? To recharge their batteries. It was worth two. I like that. Recharge your battery. That's good. All right. Question: if someone has a DUI and got their license back with a blow box, can they drive a tractor? So that's called an interlock system. If you've done a year of your suspension, then instead of having a second year of administrative, you can apply for the interlock program. And if you're approved, then you have to get that system installed. I don't know if it's available for commercial vehicles, but you cannot drive a vehicle that doesn't have what you call a blow box, an interlock system. You can't drive it without the machine. So unfortunately, I don't have a good answer other than the blanket statement of you cannot drive a vehicle that doesn't have it installed. Gordo Bonito says, can you answer my question, please? I haven't seen your question yet because I'm just scrolling backwards. So ask it again at the end, or ask it again now because, here we go. So he wants to know about why cops didn't get charged after false accusations when the judge dismissed the charge. I don't know the case you're talking about. I don't know. And one person's perspective saying that it was false doesn't mean it was false. It means that they didn't have sufficient evidence necessarily. If they made it up, I imagine that they would have been held accountable internally. But I don't know at all what you're talking about. I'm scrolling back. Maybe you have context. Purgatory. If I'm a G licensed driver years and have an M2, can I get charged if I have alcohol in my system? Yes. If you're an M2, you're not allowed to have alcohol in your system. When you're driving a car, if you're 22 or older and you have a G licensed driver, then in your car you can have more than 0. But with your M2, you are restricted to 0. Clear as mud. The M2 only applies when you're driving a motor vehicle that is an M2 or an M series vehicle. So not an M BMW series. M like motorcycle. Beehive, is it Beehive or Beehive? Driver's license, then can, what is this? Josh says, in my opinion, buses should have dash cameras for protection of passengers. They do have cameras. They have cameras everywhere. TTC has phenomenal high definition cameras. Whatever you do on a TTC vehicle, I believe, is being captured inside, sharing outside. If you're watching, by the way, and you don't already follow, please follow, regardless of the platform. And please share this with your friends. Let other people know that we're here doing this. I keep saying we. It's me. I'm doing it. Bihai says, I work as a school bus driver. I need to work continuously for 6 months. Then I will get my e-license. Then I can use TTC buses. Is the e-driver's license enough for this? What do you think? What is your opinion? I don't know what the requirements are for TTC driving. If they have, if it's more like is it E that is for transit buses? Either way, if I couldn't tell you what they require, because I've never focused on that. I probably did at one point. I'm sure when I was going through OPC and studying the HTA originally, I probably could rhyme off all the different requirements for every type of vehicle. But I never got really into the whole commercial motor vehicle, big truck stuff. We do have specialists. Toronto Police and every police service has CVSA specialists. I'm not one of them. Gordo says, why we can use the same system by speed like German Autobahn? What do you mean? I don't know. Excuse me. Is that no? Excuse M3. Excuse M3. I think that's what your username decodes to. We already answered the question though. Is there any law for bright beam on cars? They are not high beam, but bright beam. So in order to be used on the vehicle, they have to be legal for the road. If not, if you've modified your vehicle and you have headlights that are way too bright, well, then you have headlights that are not legal and they're unsafe or improper headlights because there's maximums to how bright, what color, and so on. So improper headlight would be a charge that is applicable and is laid on a regular basis. I certainly used to relay it all the time. If you have one headlight, if you need two, if it's improperly aimed, if they're cross-eyed. Let's see here. Why do officers get serious punishment for hearsay comments but minor punishments for criminal acts? I think it's hearsay what you're saying. I don't know what you're talking about. What punishments for hearsay comments? What are you talking about? Okay. Why is driving without insurance result in longer suspension than a DOI? That's how it is in Nova Scotia. Dylan, excellent question. I don't know anything about the law in Nova Scotia, but I'm learning more because we want to cover all of Canada with bettertraffic.ca. But the deal is that if you look at Ontario even, if you're charged with DUI or impaired operation, you're going to get a 7-day vehicle impound and a 7-day suspension. No, 90-day. 7-day vehicle impound, 90-day suspension. But if you get a drive without insurance, there's no suspension here for the insurance. I think it's just a financial $5,000 to $25,000 fine and up to 6 months in jail. If you're in jail, I guess you're suspended for 6 months. Doesn't really happen that often. What else? Then you're talking about you know what I was going with? Stunt driving. So stunt driving has a 14-day vehicle impound and a 30-day suspension. Administratively, immediately roadside, where you only have a 7-day impound for impaired. That doesn't seem right. I think by if you look at that, DUI is way more serious or equally serious. At very least, it should have the equal amount of immediate roadside administrative penalty. And I think we should go from 30 days to 90 days for stunt driving for a suspended license too. But I'm a toughie. I don't know why and I think for cell phones, it should be a suspension too. Josh says, all headlights have a component you can fiddle with to change the light beam's angle. Yes, that's true. What's our time? 2 minutes. Okay, we're wrapping it up. I'm doing the other dad jokes. I wish I could talk and address every question. I always wish I could. I always try to answer everything. Ali says, I got a speeding ticket by an undercover cop here in Ontario, and he gave me a speeding ticket with demerit points, and I learned my lesson from it, but my lawyer went to the court, and charges were demerit points and a fine, but the court hasn't said anything if they will drop it or will keep it, and my lawyer still hasn't had anything about the update. Can you speak about making police... Oh, no, sorry, that was Ali. I think we talked about it earlier. Maybe they were on both platforms. Dave says, can you speak about making police statements? I did once and wrote it quickly, got called 2 years later in court and only had my statement and had no info on it. So I got absolutely destroyed. You know, nowadays we try and record things whenever possible for that reason. Making independent notes, and not just a statement, but independent notes to refresh your memory. It's a problem. And 2 years later, it's not reasonable for the average person to remember everything, and it should be weighed that way. Like, in saying you don't know or you don't remember is okay. In terms of when, as a police officer, you make those statements, you know, I can still see half in my, if I think about certain collisions or if I read a paragraph that I write, that I wrote in my notes, I can almost see the scene. I not every one of them, certainly not the speeding ticket, but a collision investigation, something major where it's significant. You spend a lot of time dealing with it. A witness statement, the person moves on with their life afterwards, totally different. All right. I'm just scrolling to see if there's anything I can quickly. Okay, I got to get out of here. Here's the dad joke, though. Don't challenge death to a pillow fight if you're not willing to deal with the repercussions. The repercussions? I like that. And then last one. Why did the doctor lose her temper? Because she lost all her patience. It's also good. All right, I'll be back Monday. Have a great weekend. Drive safe, drive sober, park legally, be nice to your neighbors, and just have a great weekend. Spend time with family if you got them. Cherish those moments because it matters. And I think that's why I'm so interested in traffic safety, is because when people get hurt, when tragedy on the road happens, so many people are impacted, families, communities. Anyway, wonderful weekend to you. Be safe.